Hey there, fragrant fellows. Today's video, we're going to be focusing on an ingredient used for fragrance that is one of the most sought after and the most expensive. Today is all about oud. In our fall fragrances video, I gave a special shout out to Oud Symphony. It wasn't my favorite, but that's only because I needed more time to mill on it. So today we decided to do a video focusing on all things oud. It's a very pungent and very animalistic scent, and really just shrouded in mystery. It's not something that you smell a first time and then you just come up with your opinion right away. You have to drive it around the block a few times. MaxAroma has put together a list of 8 different fragrances, all featuring oud as its main ingredient, along with its own unique mixture that brings out the best that oud has to offer. As always, I will be going through each fragrance and try to get to the bottom of this very mysterious oud. Kicking off our list, we have Initio Oud for Greatness. This is going to be used as our baseline litmus test for the rest of our fragrances today. This is our net zero. This is our pH 7. And then all the other ones, we're going to more isolate what other ingredients are in there as well. Yeah, see, like it has that animalistic describer on it, which, you know, wherever you come from, if you like more natural musk smell or you like more aromatic perfumes, that's really going to decide whether or not you like something like this. I'm picturing like a big burly guy in a suit. Like he's there for appearances, but underneath he wants to shred this thing off and just, I don't know, run into the jungle. Like it's so mysterious, like all these are. So if it looks like I'm fumbling for words, it's not because I have no opinion on it, but because it incites such a dialogue in your mind. This is oud at its greatest or worst, depending on your particular taste. Up next, we have our first of 3 Blend Oud. Blend Oud is featured highly on our list, and that's probably because, my guess being, that they've mastered the art of oud. Now that I mention it, we do have a very special giveaway that involves Blend Oud, so stick to the end of this video to find out what that is. 7 Moons. So this is bringing out the more warm and sweetness part of oud. That's what's very divisive about it as well, is like there's hints of that sweetness, but there's also like a very woody type of smell to it that I think, depending on what you're more sensitive to, is what you're gonna pick up. But now I'm smelling that sweetness too. You know what, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Blend Oud is definitely kicking off this list very well. They are pinpointing the features of this ingredient, and they are bursting out with them. So if you love oud, Blend Oud, go figure, you're gonna like it too. This ingredient, it really transcends like masculine and feminine smells. I could see a person wearing this, like somebody who wears like a sweater and tie in their own house. I mean, that's more of like a Victorian thing, but I could also see a woman doing the same thing, like reading a book like by a fire sort of thing. Somebody who likes to keep a well-kept appearance even if they're alone. This is another Blend Oud, and this one is subtitled Eclipse. Wow, total opposite side of the spectrum of 7 Moons. Let me just hang out with this for a little while longer. This fragrance definitely deviates away from that woody sort of darker side of oud and focuses a lot more on the more pungent and stronger, like aromatic aspects of it. This one, I think, is a more public one. It's very loud, and it may turn people off, especially again if you're not an oud fan, but this is somebody who wants to be noticed. Maybe somebody who's pitching an idea to somebody, like a screenplay or something like that, and they're like taking all the steps that they can to stand out. Okay, here we have Modern Oud by Maresque. I'm very curious by the choice of the word modern. Oh yeah, this is, if you're more of a fence sitter with this ingredient, this is much better. It still has all all those features of oud, but it's much more subdued, which might be necessary, and I think that's more my taste for, at least for like the first impression, because it's such a mysterious ingredient that it almost drives you crazy. Like, do I like it or not? This makes that a lot more digestible. This will definitely be included in the Oud starter kit. If you want to graduate to Initio eventually, I would say start with Modern Oud first. Again, this could be, I'm leaning more towards a feminine smell, but this could really be worn by anybody. It's got that fall fragrance again, so it's not really, none of these are really like party fragrances. They're much more intimate settings. Whether, like I said before with 7 Moons, whether it's enjoyed by yourself or with somebody else. I don't really see this in a loud social environment. If I were to base this without the rest of the ones on this list, I would use the word modern to describe it because it absolutely appeals much more to a Western, I think, palette than I think some of the more oud strong fragrances. Maison Francis Kirk Dujan, Oud Silk Mood. Okay, my initial guess is that this is going to be a lot softer. Bingo. This is very sweet. This is the sweetest one on our list so far. I knew it. I just knew it. It still has oud, that smell, but it's almost like bogged down by other ingredients. It's almost like the person who made this isn't a big fan of oud or can't take too much of it. But it's still there, and it still helps it along. Otherwise, this would be way too sweet for me. You need that kind of, it drags it down. If oud is black coffee, this is a latte. The kind of person who wears this, I think, is somebody who's a little bit more sensitive. The bottle kind of reflects that too. It's a lot softer, it's a lot sweeter. I think somebody with a younger spirit would wear this. Maybe a little bit coy and naive, maybe a little flirty. As far as flirty as oud can be. I don't know, it can be too aggressive to be flirty, but this definitely brings it down to a much softer, less animalistic, less aggressive smell. Fragrance Du Bois, London Oud. I'm guessing again that this is going to be a lot softer of a touch. Yes, so this is very similar to to our last one. Maison Francis Kirk Dijon Paris Oud Silk Mood. It's got that sweetness to it as well as that much softer taste of oud, but this has a little bit more of a spice to it. And I would say that this one is a little bit more grown up than our last one. I could definitely see still a young spirit wearing this, but a more seasoned and more mature one. And that oud is going to give you a little bit more mystery to it. All of these have that, but this gives it a much more softer touch. I think it's going to be much more appealing to a Western nose. But this may be my biased favorite. I almost don't want my favorite one to be a more like a softer, less oud fragrance. I want oud to be like, you know, star of the show here. Guess how I would describe this one would be Big Sister. The younger Maison Francis Kirk Dijon Paris Oud Silk Mood. It's more naive, maybe cuter, the more innocent one. If you're into a more mysterious, I would say even like a bad girl. For some reason, these seem to strike me as more as feminine fragrances. Then this would be that one. I like it. This would be the kind of girl that I would like. All right, I've been dreading this one, not because I think it's not going to be good, but because I'm scared of it. We have Mysterious Oud by Bornikov. Love the bottle. This is like your dad's like expensive whiskey that you're not allowed to touch. Woo! Still correct about Initio being like the baseline oud. This, just like the name says, is like, what did you do with this ingredient? This is like, you've taken it and you've confused me further with it. Because I don't know if I dislike this or not. It's very pungent and it's very, I want to say distracting. I honestly don't know too many people in the United States who are going to respond positively to this. I like it because I like to be challenged with my senses, and this is really just kicking my butt. This is somebody who knows that this will make an impression. They just don't care if it's a good or a bad one. Last but not least, we have our third Blend Oud. This one is called Oud Al Emarat. Again, like the other ones, I expect this to be fully embracing of the oud. It's like a way of life, the oud. Yes, sir. And you know what? At this point in the video, like, I am seasoned in oud, and I really enjoy this. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this one is my favorite now. If Initio is like the most baseline, that's more like if you're like sampling like at like a crime scene or something. This is much more, no, a crime scene. Oh, I was thinking like a police, like police, yeah, like police training, like, sheesh. If Initio is like that baseline one, I would say that's more of like a supermarket sampler type of oud. This one, I think, has taken that ingredient and they've really brought out the best parts of it and have not shied away from anything. There's nothing that's subduing it. Oud is the star of the show in this bottle, and you know, at this point, like, I'm an oud guy. How many oud guys do you know? This is like, you know, like the way that I would describe the person I would see wearing this. This is the oud everyman. This is the guy, this can be worn in most situations, which I didn't at the start of this video think that this ingredient could be used in any everyman type of situation. When we started off, I thought this was an ingredient that you could only use like if you were trying to incite a violent reaction from somebody. Maybe that's describing that animalistic tendencies of it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But if you don't want to play it safe, this is a fantastic ingredient and this is a fantastic fragrance. Today has been a fascinating day of oud discovery for me. I'm just getting choked up. So my final thoughts about oud, and I'm like learning so much as we're going through this. This, like, it really kicked my butt, but in the best way possible. I've learned more about this fascinating ingredient than I think I have in my entire life. And I would love for the rest of you to engage in the comment section your experience with oud, whether you've even come across it at all or you're curious about it. What do you know about it? Do you have a fragrance that features this ingredient in it? Please engage in that dialogue and we will select 10 of our featured comments, and those 10 people will get a free full-size bottle of Blend Oud. Also, a like and subscribe doesn't hurt your chances either. As always, my name is Paul, and if you're anything like me, you are now in the mood for oud.